Hey guys, Ridiculous Badger coming at you from Planet 545. Let's talk about the sisters, let's talk about the Stella, let's talk about the X, let's talk about how they're the same, let's talk about how they're different. You can build out the X to some roles that she's just better at than Stella. The issue is you have to know what you're doing, what you're aiming for, and you have to get tunnel vision and just go for it. So what makes her different is not Mysterious Wind, which is generally the primary focus when people are talking about the X. It's the fact that, just like Stella, she gets this capability to proc basically another turn. But because it scales at 1% damage, the maximum damage that she could do is 60% of her regular attack. But she could proc all of her gems, she could proc all of her other skills. In fact, she could also proc Mysterious Wind for another round. And so can Stella. Stella has Wings of Eternity, but this is 60% proc rate versus the 40% proc rate of Mysterious Wind. This scales at 1.5% damage per level rather than 1% damage, so it does more damage, it procs more often, and because it procs more often, her probability math of proccing any skill is at a higher rate than it is for the X. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But just know that when you are comparing the X and Stella, you are not comparing the proc rate or the damage rate on Wings of Eternity versus Mysterious Wind, because anytime you do that, the X loses. But it's the secondary skill for Stella, which is Dizzy. It's a 20% proc rate. It's basically an Ares gem set. It scales at 1% per level, and it lowers the enemy's accuracy and attack. This does stack, which is wonderful, and it really just has this great synergy from Wings of Eternity, because you're going to get the capability to attack multiple times every time Wings of Eternity procs. You're also going to get the capability to do this debuff every time on the enemy, so that you're gonna have a bunch of turns in a row, and then finally when it is the enemy's turn, there's a really great chance that you have proc Dizzy, and that they are now weaker and they will have a harder chance to hit you. But Mysterious Wind is the X's secondary skill. Her primary skill is Bloodthirst. If you kill a stack from the enemy, you get immediately a sure hit skill follow-up. This scales at 1.5% per level. So, unlike Wings of Eternity is a 60%, this happens every single time the condition is fulfilled, which is killing an enemy stack. So as long as you kill a stack, you don't get a 60% chance to go again at 1.5% per level damage, at 90% of regular damage. You get a 100% chance. So all you gotta do, as you'll see when we talk about building her out with her gear, you have to make sure that you hit and you kill a stack. Once you do, you'll get that extra attack. And hey, if you had that 60% proc rate and you got Awakening the first time, well, guess what? That extra attack is gonna mean that you win the fight.